Okay.
You know what? No, I get it now because
And that's what we
this
said.
is
We
all
always
And
kind of
said it.
this is no, this is all kind of a culmination of this is all kind of culmination of like the problems we have in society in general. You know how people say bring shame back? What we really mean is bring shame back in public. People, she's not going to change anything she's doing. And if you notice a lot of these internet trolls and people that behave the way she do, they'll apologize, they'll say whatever to the next person, get set off again and do the exact same thing the next week. Bring shame back in public. I feel like men are not afraid to shame each other and dog each other on a panel to the point where they get submission from that person that they want to get it from. Most notably, because y'all say men don't do this enough or when a man, I have not seen it yet to the where a man is trying to dominate a woman to the point where he calls her the B word, where he doesn't get dogged out by every other man on the panel. Hey, dog, what you doing? Hey, bro, that's foul, bro. That's how women's supposed to do it.
That's
Unless
not
it's just
true.
someone,
I've seen it on the
I'm saying,
Lapeef
unless it's
Network.
just someone who deserves it, and no one likes. If it is a Coach K, E Nas, Tan Mistaken or Shan, we gonna be like, wait till I see you, dog. I'm gonna slap the shit. We're gonna take up for the women who deserve to be taken up for. I just feel like women have to have a little bit more. You can't be, yeah. It's like you can't just retreat back into your femininity. Like, well, this is just taking a long time. I'm just gonna sit here and twiddle my nut. No, no, no. We expect more from.
yeah. So
So,
I go ahead. No, go ahead, AP.
so just kind of off of Trigger Mike's point, I've seen it on Lapeef where a guy was kicked off and yanked off another show that he tried to go on because he went and called somebody the B word and went a little too far. So I know men hold men accountable. That is something I have personally seen. Second,
It's not consistent though. I'm gonna just point that out. Is
uh,
So let me
inconsistent.
ask you a question. Do you in that conversation? Because I'm gonna always
uh,
give a wink for Hink. I love Hink. Do you think Hink was wrong at all in that situation?
Oh
so
yeah, he shouldn't have been going back and forth with it as long as he did. And so the weird part is
that's a
that
fact.
you remember what I just said, where it's almost as if you tell Hink the straight up thing, like that's the weird part about it is I thought the ladies were going to be on Hink's side because of the way him. You've been on multiple panels with them, so you almost want to be like, ma'am, Hink is not like this. I think y'all are just having a little exchange, right? You see what I'm saying? Like he's not like that. He's responding to you. He had I don't even want to say wrong reaction. He did say some things that were like, you didn't. Are you trying to provoke her? You shouldn't
He
have said
poked the
that.
bear for sure.
You
So
did.
were
Yeah,
those
Here's
things
the
pointed
thing,
out
right?
though?
But here's
So
the
because
thing,
there
right?
was
Right.
a man on the panel.
No,
But here's the
there was
thing, the
no
thing, right?
accountability on his end, and I like when Anton came on. Anti specifically stated that, Hank, I don't see that you did anything wrong. That's just my opinion. That was his exact quote. I don't think that you did anything wrong. My thing is I'm gonna be honest. I know that I am the type that I do call stuff out. And I thought about if I was on that show, how much worse it could have potentially been. Because as a female, like in my personality type, if you get hyped, especially like that, I probably am gonna get hyped too. And I don't think anything would have been accomplished. She was already in her emotion. Even when people, like, it was one point where Curves was trying to kind of side with her, and then she flipped on Curve too.
yeah, it's
So
crazy,
she
man.
was just at a point that she was in her feelings. At that point, it wasn't anything that anybody could have said. And I think that Precious explained that situation very well after everybody, after she had left off and said she was at a point that she felt attacked or threatened and was looking for a guy to defend her and
Yeah, fuck that. I don't nobody gonna defend her.
come to her rescue to say, Hink, you were wrong.
No,
However, my thing with that is that I do think her approach and what she was saying and how she was saying it was definitely, definitely wrong.
As a guest, by the way.
Yeah, it was definitely wrong, and
and let me
it
say this
gave
about
that
Hinks.
energy.
Let me say this about the Hink thing.
Add me to the
So
line.
Hink in the exchange had multiple wrong moments, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
where it's like, why'd you say that? So he had multiple wrong moments. The difference between them, I believe every single time Hink was redirected, he complied. Hey, Hink, chill out.
I agree.
That's the part where men will get combative with another man. I expect him to react that way when he's postured like a man. Like that's what I'm saying. I expect him. Then when you say, "Hey, dog, chill out. Let me talk to her," I think that's exactly what Anton said. Hey, let me talk. Hink, just fall back. He just fall back. That's what we expect men to do.
And Hank apologized. That was another thing that I noticed. He apologized to the panel for his behavior. He did not cut her off. That's where she went wrong. He fell back. He didn't say nothing. He gave the panel the whole time to talk. And then when he talked, he was getting cut off. So I saw where both sides. So definitely.
I will say
Okay, Enos, go ahead, and I'm gonna ask a question.
Thank you. So I will say this,
please.
okay. So I will say this as well. Here's why I don't think Hank was in the wrong, right? Because I think it was the second or third time. I don't know how many times I watched it, right? And I was listening very intently. I don't know how many times that young lady got super disrespectful with him. And he was like, "You're right. You got it. Yep. No problem." And he was taking hit after hit on the chin like a man, right? But he hit his threshold. And again, you guys have heard me say this all the time. Men are still human beings. They have their threshold. And once she surpassed his tolerance, we can't really dictate and be like, you were in the wrong for reacting when she got to keep going hit after hit after hit. Because he was really gracious. She called him out his name and he was like, "Yep, you're right." She called him broke. He's like, "You got it." She called him something other name. He was like, Yep, that's exactly it. Like he was trying to de-escalate her aggression and still make his point. But she was so wound up. Like she really wound herself up, right? And because if you watch it one more time, she worked herself into that frenzy. She worked herself into that state where nothing Hank could say would not be taken personally. And that is the only reason I don't think Hank was in the wrong, because there were so many efforts on his part, not just on the compliance, but on de-escalation as well.
Let me pull. Did anybody else wanted to say anything? Because I have another question.
Well, is it still on this?
Well, that's my next. Well,
go ahead. You go ahead.
But this, you guys, because I'm gonna ask a question pertaining to this.
Before you change it, one of the things that I was gonna say also that I noticed that I just couldn't get with, and I have to admit, this is when I see what the guys were talking about the victim falling back into the victim role. I did notice that I've always been the type that if don't start none, won't be none. And so I think what happened is the way that her presentation was very like, I'm gonna get at you. And then when the response, she didn't want the response that she got. Then when she got the response, it was like, where's everybody else to help me, to support me? And nobody else was like checking for it because none of the ladies agreed with the behavior. And so in that regard, that kind of bothered me, because you can't bring the smoke and then get mad when it blows back on you. So that was one of the things that I did notice in that. And, throwing a black card, being double marginalized and all of that, that had nothing to do with the overall conversation. And that was just an attack to say, don't come at me. So I didn't like that.